Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all today. We miss seeing your faces in real life, but maybe someday we'll be able to do it again. I'm Dr. Frank Zamalin. Dr. Terry Zamalin and I want to welcome you to Awakening Ways Spiritual Community. Awakening Ways is a New Thought spiritual community in the lineage of Dr. Ernest Holmes. We're a group that believes that there is a golden thread of truth and love that winds its way through all great spiritual traditions, and that whatever the path may be that you're on, the ultimate goal of that path is to awaken you to the divinity within you, to awaken you to that still small voice within you that is the voice of God, by whatever name we call it. Here at Awakening Ways, we believe that our job is to help you to awaken to that voice, to awaken to that divinity. And we do that in many different ways. We do that through Sunday gatherings like this with uplifting music and wonderful talks. We do that through book studies and classes, like the Neville book study we have coming up in a week or so. And we do that through prayer. We do it through one-to-one counseling. We have many, many different ways available to you to help you to awaken to your own divinity. You know, each of us came to this place through a different path. Each of us came to this place in our own unique way. Wherever it is that you came from, and wherever it is that you wind up going when you leave here today, for right now, for this sacred moment in time, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. I want to ask you to join me right now for a moment of silence as we move into that consciousness of truth and love that is truly the reason that we're here today. That union, that unity of divine. Close your eyes and know with me that there is a divine source of love, a divine source of wisdom, a divine source of life. It fills all of the universe with itself as life, as wisdom, as love. Each of us in our own unique way are manifestations of that. God, the divine, having this human experience, having this sentient experience, this physical experience. In that truth, I know for each of us here today that we are called together by that divine appointment, and that the words that Dr. Terry shares with us today are words coming from that pure, clear consciousness of the divine. That the music that is shared with us today is our musicians of Awakening Ways sharing the divine harmonies that they hear in their souls. I know for each of us that something will resonate for us today, and that we will leave here today uplifted and filled with a greater knowledge, a greater understanding, and a greater awakening than we've ever experienced before. I give thanks for that, knowing that it is already true and that there's nothing we need to do but to continue on with this wonderful gathering of beautiful souls. And so I release and I let go, and I simply say, and so it is. Amen. Namaste.
All right, let's sing Imagine.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. endless only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine there's no countries. Isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Namaste. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dr. Frank. The light and love of the divine in me honors and greets the light and the love of the divine in each and every one of you here this morning on another fabulous Zoom morning that we are grateful for. We are so grateful. You know, there are spiritual communities that are closing their doors because you know, people are not coming, they're not supporting them, they're just choosing not to participate. And I'm just so grateful that this community is stepping up and saying, no, this is important to us. We love each other. We want to be here. So I'm grateful for that. And it's lovely to see everybody here this morning. We're continuing on with our seed this month, and our seed is plenty, plenty. I came across an old English meaning of the word plenty, and the meaning was this: fullness. Fullness. And when you hear the word plenty, you don't necessarily think of the word fullness. But what we can know is that when we have plenty, we have so much. We have so much more than enough that we are filled full to overflowing. Wow, plenty. There's plenty. You know, it's wonderful to do these talks on Sundays, and sometimes these seeds of awakening are not easy to do because they reflect, we have to talk about what's happening in the world, and sometimes it's a hard match. And in talking about plenty, there are a lot of people in the world today who are not experiencing this idea of plenty. You look around and there seem to be more examples of not enough rather than more than enough, right? The coronavirus, this whole situation that we have, that we are experiencing, is forcing all of us, it is a force fit, because left to our own choices, of course, we would not choose this, but it is forcing us temporarily to move into limitation, into places and spaces of limitation. You know this for yourself. You can't go where you want. You can't find what you need at the stores. You can't be with the ones that you want to be with in the way that you want to be with them. We don't get to run up to somebody in the grocery store and give them a big old hug. No, we can't do that. We have to honor these. I don't mean that at all. I just mean that as a way of life, this whole experience has changed us. Businesses are closing. Travel is virtually non-existent. I notice for myself that the choices that I'm able to make out in the world, even the things I'm able to buy, seem to be dwindling. Like there are fewer and fewer choices. It's very, very strange. So how are we supposed to embrace this idea of plenty when the world around us seems to contradict it in every single way, right? Well, let me tell you a story. So I was walking up the hill. It was a couple of weeks ago now. And I heard this noise behind me. And I turned around and I saw this little guy. He must have been about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11. And he's riding his bike up the hill, and he's pumping it. He's pumping, he's standing up. You know what I'm talking about, right? He's standing up on the pedals. And when you're really pumping it, how the bicycle goes from side to side, because you go, duh, he's really working it. And this particular point in the hill is probably the steepest place, and that's where I encountered him. And he came up from behind me and he passed me, and I'm watching him pumping and pumping and pumping, and honestly, he was getting slower and slower. I really thought that he was going to have to get off his bike and walk it up the hill, but he didn't. He went around a curve, and I lost sight of him for a moment, but it was not, I'm saying maybe 60 seconds later, whoosh, down he came the hill. He was moving. I mean, he just blew right past me with this gigantic smile on his face. He was just having the time of his life. Now, what I know is this little guy, he knows the law of cause and effect. He may not know it, but we do. We do. Here's the truth about this. It's just an ordinary event, and yet it has everything in it. In order for him to get up the hill, it required a vision. He's not thinking this consciously, but you know what? He had to visualize himself going up that hill, getting up the hill, and then he had to visualize himself coming down it. This is what Dr. Frank was talking about last week when he talked about the fact that if we want to manifest the things that we desire, then we need to see them and feel that they have already happened. And so this little guy had to do that. He had to see himself going up the hill, and then he had to see himself coming back down the hill. And it required that he work, first things first. He had to do in the physical world what was necessary for him to meet that goal, for him to fulfill that desire. So he had to go up the hill. He had to do the work of going up the hill. But he was fine with that. He was fine with that because he knew that when he got up to the hill, it was going to be worth it, because he was going to be able to come flying back down the hill. And that's what he wanted. So he knew what he wanted. He knew what he had to do to get it. And then he did it. And what a great, great demonstration and manifestation. I mean, this little boy is our mentor. He's our teacher. It's fabulous. He is literally the creative process in action. He's all of that. He's showing us how to live. And let me tell you what, this little guy had plenty of joy on his face when he came down. So he knows all about plenty. Creative process. So I mentioned the creative process in particular because the creative process is one of those kind of new thought terms and teachings that we have that other spirituality programs don't have. But we believe in the creative process. We believe it's possible for us, just like this boy demonstrated, that it's possible for us to create the lives we want by focusing and directing our energy towards our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs, connecting with that divine and sacred power, that wholeness, that holiness, connecting with it, clarifying our thoughts, focusing our thoughts, directing our thoughts, our energies and our feelings, and moving into the awareness that we can indeed experience the manifestation of our own desires. We do this all the time. We are always manifesting. We remind you of that often. What we want to be able to do is to consciously manifest them. You know, this little boy definitely manifested his heart's desire, but he didn't do it consciously, did he? We can do it consciously. And in these times where we're feeling maybe lack or insufficiency, it's time for us to bring the creative process into play and learn to direct our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs towards whatever it is that we want to experience and do the work necessary to make it happen. It's what we teach here, and truly, truly, it does work. No matter what kinds of insufficiencies or lacks are going on out there, there are plenty of resources. There are plenty of spiritual practices. There is plenty of wisdom out in the world that we can use, that we can employ, that can help us during these times. You know, there's a new thought phrase that says, the good I am seeking, do you know the rest of it? The good I am seeking is seeking me. The good I am seeking is seeking me. So what that tells us is that struggle is a choice. Struggle is a choice. We can absolutely seek and strive and strain and struggle to get what we want. Or we can just kind of back up and open to the reality that the universe is good. The divine is goodness itself. And that goodness is always right there, waiting to pour itself out into us and into life, into the universe itself. So doesn't it feel different to simply say, I'm going to open to my good rather than struggle and strive to find it? I'm just going to open and allow it to come to me. The good I'm seeking is seeking me. It wants to come through me. It wants to live through me. It wants to be part of my experiences. Plenty is always here. Always right here. We can just open and accept that it's true for us and invite it in. Ernest Holmes said this statement, and you know, I have to confess, I have never seen this before this year. I just saw this a couple of months ago, and I wrote it down, you know, and then I thought, oh, I got to remember that, fortunately, I did find it in time for today. But the phrase is, much gathers more. Much gathers more. Have you heard that before? It was a new one for me. Much gathers more, but how true this is, right? What we know and what we teach here is that when you are filled with plenty, you attract plenty. When you are filled with love, more love comes your way. When you're filled with peace, you remain peaceful. When you're filled with joy, you experience a joy-filled life. So whatever it is that you want more of, you try to gather that into you and know that when you gather it, when you feel it, when you know it, when you focus on it, then you draw that to you. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're feeling in a place of insufficiency that you can instantly move into a place of knowing abundance and prosperity and plenty. Maybe that doesn't happen right away. But what you can do is you can practice what we teach in the foundations class in Practical Spirituality 101. And what we teach in that class is if you want an abundant life, then just start looking at the world around you and start finding places where abundance is. Finding places where you see it's unmistakable that plenty is right there. Stars, grass, leaves, you know the drill. You find it all around you. And so you start connecting with that. Oh, that's right. That's what that looks like. And that's what that feels like. Look at all the leaves on that tree. They're uncountable. There are so many. And just start moving into the feeling of being filled with plenty. And make it fun. This isn't intended to be some torturous exercise. Make it fun. You know, find places where you've never realized that plenty existed. Think of that. Where have I not looked to find plenty? Where has plenty been hiding that I have never seen before? For us, we found plenty in our garage as we were cleaning out our garage. Because why? Because it was in there. We had even forgotten it was there. And oh my, there was plenty of things. So open your consciousness and begin to allow yourself, actually, I'm going to say make yourself experience abundance and plenty in the world around you. You can even go within and connect with how much love that you feel. That's abundance. How much peace you feel. That's abundance as well. So much gathers more. Let's practice that skill if we're feeling a lack of plenty these days. Marcus Aurelius said this: when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Here's the truth, that no matter what upset you're experiencing, no matter what sense of lack or limitation or insufficiency you may be feeling, when you stop and you allow yourself to experience gratitude, things change. They just do. And so I'm gonna focus on that for just a minute. So as you know, we are selling our home. And so I bring this up tentatively because I know that your eyes are rolling back in your head and you're saying, oh, please, 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 Reverend Terry, not another trauma drama story this morning. I cannot take another. I just can't take it. Please don't do that to us this morning. So we're just going to dip our toes in, and it's just going to be a little tiny bit of drama, but no trauma. Okay? Because it's all about learning. It's about learning what's what's going on in your own life and what's before you, and how you can use your life to help you live a better life as life goes on, right? And hopefully our stories help you in some way. So, stress and crisis. I'm smiling. Stress and crisis. That has been our life. But you know, it's winding down now. It's winding down. And what I know and what you know is that stress and crisis always bring up what is most hidden within us. What is most hidden, not what's right there on the surface, but it like dives in and finds the deep stuff, and it brings it up for us to see and for us to experience. And isn't it a surprise when we discover all these things rising up in our lives that we thought we had dealt with a long time ago? Things that we thought for sure we had healed, years ago, right? But when stress and crisis come, the residual of that stuff rises to the surface. And yes, you know, maybe we did think that we resolved it, and maybe we didn't, and maybe that's disappointing. But the good news is that it's just simply a little signpost for us to know, oh, okay, this is my work to do. Here I am again. And that's okay. That's okay. So certainly for me that's true. And I'm dealing with all kinds of things, but I'm dealing with them on a deeper level. And so it's just my reminder to you that when things come up and you think, I thought I was done with this, it's just up, ready to go out. And it's just, actually it's like scraping the bottom of the pan, you know, that stuff that sometimes gets stuck down there. Well, it's like stress and crisis is like this little scraper, and it scrapes down there, and all of that residual stuff can come up and finally, once and for all, clear itself out. So here we were. We had done our work. We had cleaned the house. We had gotten everything organized. The photographer was coming on Monday to take pictures because the house was going on the market on Thursday. So everything was ready to go. And the smoke started coming. The smoke started coming. Just like the smoke is starting to come to my throat now. You see, residual. So the smoke started coming. And the photographer could not take a picture of, you know, we live on a hill and we have this beautiful view of the lake, which is, you know, the selling point for our home. You know, if your home has a view, you kind of want to be able to see the view in order to sell the home. So the smoke is coming. The smoke is coming. The photographer can't take the pictures of the lake. Why? Because it's all smoky. So that's okay. You know, we just let it be. And Thursday is coming. You know, the MLS isn't going to be posted until Thursday. So we've got some time. And the smoke kept coming. And the smoke kept coming. The house went on the market on Thursday, and I'm not saying that people didn't come to see the house. They most certainly did. But honestly, by Friday, they had to use their imaginations to know that there was a lake out there, and I'm not kidding. There was no lake to be seen. It was only smoke. But the remarkable thing was that people who lived here knew that there was a lake there. And so they just looked through the smoke and they were able to somehow know that it was there and see it. That was all well and good until Friday, when everything just closed in and you couldn't see beyond basically the trees that were at the end of our property. And, you know, I'm losing it by this point. I mean, This is True Confessions. I want you to find me a spiritual leader who says that they don't have any problems or who's going to preach the word to you. And if they say they have moved beyond having real life problems, I want to meet them. I want to meet them. So I was losing it. And thank goodness, I have people who can know the truth for me when I can't know it for myself. And I have had several people in firm tones, let me say that, remind me firmly of the truth of my situation and the truth of life itself. The truth that, you know, that it's all moving and it's all good. You know, Eckhart Tolle says the ego is sustained by continuous resistance. And this continuous resistance that we feel within us, that continually sustains the ego, is all about doubt and uncertainty. So if you're feeling doubt, you're feeling uncertainty, that resistance starts building up, and then you can't go into spirit because you're stuck in your own silly ego head. And so this is me this week, ego head stuck in my own head. But that, you know, that's okay. It's all about learning. And, you know, I recognize that all the fear, all the anger, all the anxiety, all the bad what ifs, you know what bad what ifs are, right? What if this bad thing happens? What if that bad thing happens? All of these things were just tumbling in my brain. But my people were praying for me. And by Friday, sometime Friday, you know, I don't know when, I just know that sometime Friday, I had a cosmic 2x4 experience, you know, where like babong, get a grip, Terry, and use what you know is true. And I realized that, you know, I just needed to let go, to just surrender. Now, in all fairness to myself, I was doing this all week long, but the problem is that I would do it and then I would take it back. Okay, I think I'm probably not the only one who does this, but we surrender and then we go, oh, but wait. Oh, no, I'm not gonna let it go. Wait. And it's this constant yo-yo thing going on. But I finally reached the point where I really thought I have to let go. I have to just let it be. You know, this is happening. This thing is happening. It's happening like this. It's playing out in my life like this. I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's happening. I don't understand what I can do to make it different. I don't understand any of those things. I don't care. I just let it go. I surrender. And it's always the greatest of reliefs when you can finally, once and for all, let it go. And who are you letting it go to? What are you letting it go to? Well, you're letting it go to the divine. What a great idea. And so I just let it go, but I still needed tools for myself here on the ground. I still needed things that I could do, things that I could say, things that would help me in this time of stress and struggle, in my time of insufficiency, really, in my time of not being in the consciousness of plenty. And I remembered that I already had those tools. I just wasn't using them. And you already have these tools because we've already given them to you about 1,000,001 times. And so I'm going to give them and share them with you this morning just one more time, just in case you've forgotten them and just in case they might help you where you are. So the first one is yes. The yes. Just saying the word yes. You know, something crazy happens, you know, some person walks through your door and, you know, it's looking weird, and you just say, yes, that's okay. Rather than no, 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 no. It's yes. And when you say yes, and if you need to keep saying it over and over like a mantra, the physical energy in your body changes. And when the physical energy in your body changes, it allows your mind to clear, and it allows you to move forward. It allows you to move ahead rather than getting stuck in the no, 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 no. And so I had forgotten that because I was stuck where? No, 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 no. So I returned to yes, and just saying it over and over and over. What a gift this is. The next thing that I had forgotten, you know, Byron Katie, who does all kinds of workshops. She's just this amazing transformational healer. But years ago, I gave a talk on one of her teachings, and she said, you know, there is your business, there is my business, and there is God's business. Okay? And so what was happening in my life was God's business. It was none of my business. None of my business. This is God's business. You know, I have not been put in charge of the universe yet. I am not the one who is creating life, who has a grand plan and design. That is none of my business. What is my business is to know that there is a great plan and design, and I want to fall into that. And so whatever's going on, that's part of it. And I don't have to understand it. Why? Because it's none of my business. It's none of my business. So yes, and it's none of my business. And then the last one is just basically returning to what Marcus Aurelius told us. And let me share these words again. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. And so the last practice, of course, is gratitude. How, and I say this in all, I'm scolding myself. How dare I not be grateful for what's happening? What kind of self-centered and selfish thinking is going on in my mind that I would dare to be ungrateful for anything that is going on in my life? I live a remarkable, sacred, and blessed life. And if I spend one moment being ungrateful, that is too much time. That is way too much time. So gratitude is just the healing balm for whatever it is that ails us around, lack of plenty, pain, suffering of any kind. Being grateful. And, this is like looking for good. Just start looking for all the things there are to be grateful for. It's endless. It's endless. And here's the magic thing. When you're looking for things to be grateful for and you find them, it is impossible to feel limited when you feel grateful. Gratitude just kind of, it's like this giant wave that just swallows up whatever else you're thinking about because you're so in that energy of gratitude. So remember that God is seeking you. Just open up and accept it. Remember the creative process, because that little guy knows how to do it. You know how to do it. Just start reining in those thoughts and feelings and start directing them to what it is that you want to experience to create the life that you want. Remember that much gathers more. The more good, joy, happiness, and love that you can generate, the more you will experience. Remember the words yes. Remember thank you. And remember that 99.9% of the stuff that's going on out there is none of your business. And let God really be God, and let God do what really God knows better and better how to do than you do. I think that as time goes on, you know, the situation we're in, we need every skill, every tool that we can hone to help us through these times. The elections are coming, and I just, you know, we need to be able to stay calm and centered during this time. The virus hasn't gone anywhere. We need to stay centered and calm during these times. And I'll tell you finally that one of the main resources for me when my back is really up against the wall and where I go to get clarity and understanding is actually Ernest Holmes. To read Ernest Holmes. And here's the reason why. I want to invite you to listen to these words of Ernest Holmes. All that life is and has is fully given to you to enjoy. The life of God is perfect and eternal. It is the essence of everything that is. Life is God's gift to you. It is always ready to manifest itself through you in its entire fullness. You need not be disturbed by the movement around you, nor the variations of experience through which you go. There is something within you that remains unmovable, that always speaks directly to you, saying, "Be still and know that I am God." You always have been and forever will remain a complete and perfect expression of the eternal mind, which is God, the living Spirit Almighty. Take a breath. Feel that truth. Understand that plenty and that fullness is waiting for us to experience. We only have to surrender. And so, as just kind of a closing affirmation and a closing little quiet prayer, I'm going to invite you, if you will, to just take another deep breath. You know, just relax. You don't have to think about anything in particular. You're just going to just relax for now and just take a deep breath and feel yourself open. And allow these words to move through you. All I think myself to be, I completely surrender to all I know and trust God to be. All I feel myself to be, I completely surrender to all I know and trust the divine to be. And all the ways I limit myself to be, I completely surrender to all I know and trust the universe to be right here and now. And knowing that spirit, the divine, the holy presence, that goodness, that wholeness, and that fullness is always and ever right exactly where we are. We open and we say yes, and we say thank you, and we fill ourselves with that truth of being. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Namaste.
2, 3.
Well, I am the preacher, shutting up the news. I am the juke joint stomper, playing the blues. I am the holy roller, giving Jesus my cares. I am the candy man, I'm pushing my wares. Well, I am the cowboy, running my steers. I am the Cherokee train on the trail of tears. Well, I am the master with whip in my hand. I am the slave from a distant land. And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one. And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one. I am an old gear on a dusty road. I am a banker with the tailor-made clothes. I am a hobo in a cold box car. I am a railroad baron smoking a big cigar. I am a ghetto brother about to lose his lease. I am a landlord cutting off the heat. I am a prisoner, they're playing cards. I am the warden looking out over the yard. But after all is said and done, with my maker I am one. And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one.
I'm a doctor, saving the sick. I'm a junkie, craving the fix. I'm a homeless child on the streets so mean. I'm a movie star on the silver screen. I'm a champion at the finish line. I'm a beggar holding up a sign. I'm a rookie trying to make the Hall of Fame. And I am a gangster and I'm fixing the game.
And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one. And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one. And after all is said and done, with my maker I am one.
Thank you. Thank you, Soulshine. That was wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Terry. That was a great talk you did this morning. And just a reminder that if you're interested in hearing it again, if there was something you missed that you think you might want to check in on, it's going to be available on YouTube. Probably, I would guess Tuesday, it'll be available on YouTube. A few announcements that I have, the book study coming up, the Neville book study on the Neville Reader is going to be starting Thursday, September the 3rd. It will be just a 2-week class at that point, $25 cost. You can, if you've received the flyer for it, you can sign up online through PayPal. If you have not received the flyer and would like to, please email us here at awakeningways@thegrid.net. We'll make sure that you get it because that's how you sign up for the class. It's going to be 2 weeks at that point as we study one of his smaller works. And then as a group, we will decide whether we want to continue on with another class studying another one of Neville's works. It's going to be a Zoom class, obviously, so anybody who wants to join can do so. Usually at this point in time when we're together, when we have major emergencies going on, we collect donations to be sent to organizations supporting those who are affected by the disasters. This year, we're not going to be able to do that. Right now, there's nearly 1 million acres on fire, and we have friends who are in danger of losing their home or may already have lost them. We don't know for sure. So if you'd like to donate, please, we suggest personal donations to either the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, or other organizations of your choice that will make sure that those donations get out to the people who need them. And speaking of donations, Awakening Ways is always in need of your support. You can go to our website, and there are several places on the website where you'll find the PayPal button. At the end of this gathering, there will be a screenshot that will show you exactly how to do that. And we invite, because it's only through your donations that we're able to do anything at this point. Our bills continue, our rent here at the office continues, and we appreciate any donations that you're able to make, either through PayPal or through mailing them directly here to our office. A reminder also that Awakening Ways is, as a New Thought community, very much committed to the idea of prayer. That prayer is the foremost job we all have. And that prayer is always answered to the extent that we're able to say yes, as Dr. Terry talked about today. So if you have a prayer request, please send it in to our website, to our email address, awakeningways@thegrid.net, and make sure that you put into the subject line prayer request, and it will go out to our entire soul support team, all of the practitioners and ministers, and we'll be praying for you at least for a week. And if you continue to need prayer, you can continue to ask for more. I think that's it for today. I think that we have all done and heard exactly what we needed to hear today from Dr. Terry and from Soulshine. And so our blessing to you until we meet you again, either on Zoom or in real life, is may you be blessed. May you be blessed with perfect health, perfect love, perfect life, and perfect experiences. May all your actions, all of your experiences raise you higher into that consciousness of the divine. May you know peace, and may you know God. And so it is. Amen. Namaste. Blessings.